ATE hitting with the click clack.
Hey, what's happening? It's your best fiend, notdan, and I wanted to talk to you today about a little project that I'm running called PHOENIXPOLICE.LIVE. It's really just a web URL forwarder to the Phoenix Police Live radio scanner channel on YouTube. All it is literally just a very condensed, minimalist setup to decode the local municipalities, including the Phoenix Police Department, which runs on a P25 network. You may or may not have heard of P25, but I'll kind of explain it a little bit from a high level and take you through the gear that you might need to do this if you're finding yourself unable to hear your local police on the radio scanner that you have from Radio Shack or whatever company you may have bought your scanner from. So P25, it's a method of optimizing bandwidth and radio channels and all this stuff. But some of the more interesting things that it can do is almost create like a cellular provider. It's a really bad analogy for all this, but almost create like a cellular provider or a telephone company on what are traditionally just the frequencies that would just be wide open for police and ambulance, fire, whatnot. You can, like in the Phoenix area, our P25 network that runs the municipalities like fire, police, and all that, also run private companies, utilities like APS, the power company, Salt River Project or SRP, and a host of other different companies that are kind of like borderline government, but not really. It's kind of a weird little mix that they have on the specific network that I'm talking about. And then there's a couple other P25 networks in the area as well. There's two phases, phase 1 and phase 2. Right now, the Phoenix area is running a hybrid phase 1 and phase 2, which is good because phase 1 is much easier to listen to, and phase 2, I guess it doesn't really make a difference which phase it's on. It matters what type of encryption they're using. Luckily for us, the Phoenix Police Department has decided that transparency is a good thing, which it is, and have given us at least limited access to hear calls. We, as citizens, are not by default given access to car-to-car traffic and some other things like tactical operations, things like that. But we do have access to dispatch to the cars and the car dispatch, which is honestly, that's a pretty decent amount right there. As we kind of run through how the channel works and everything, or if you've been listening for a little amount of time, you'll notice that it has mostly, it defaults to the right side, but it definitely comes through on the left side as well. The reason for this is literally just overload, right? So if there's somebody getting stabbed on 51st and Southern, and then all of a sudden somebody else gets stabbed on 51st and Baseline, not that 51st might be an issue of any sort. Perish the thought. But if those two calls are happening simultaneously, well, they need to happen. So in order for us to hear them, I figured, and this is a pretty common thing, you split them up, have it on the two channels. Some people, in fact most, like the dual channel thing. If you don't like it, I feel it can get overwhelming at times. Just turn off one of your speakers, or turn the settings so it's just on left or right. I usually would say pick the right channel though. excuse me, left. Left is the one it defaults to. Make sure you don't screw that one up. Anyways, so that kind of gives you an idea of the type of network we're listening to, but why can't we listen to it on the scanner? And the answer is really pretty straightforward and easy and kind of dumb. It's just that scanners haven't been popular enough for R&D, and it's really 3 or 4 companies, I think, maybe less. It might actually only be 2 companies, and they kind of have different brands. But I know Radio Shack brand got bought out by some guy that bought Recon, which was another super advanced scanner. These are all like $500-$600 scanners. Some are $1,000. They're totally insanely priced. The stuff that I run on, well, you'll see in a second. It can fit in the box smaller than my little drone box here. So we're talking, and I mean that's a really terrible example because it's literally more like it can fit in. It can fit in a pack of cigarettes very easily. And I think what I'll do is just cut that section out and restate it right now. And then maybe this could be on a blooper reel because it's going to be watched so often and I'm going to get an Oscar and all this other shit. Fuck myself. All right. So I'm going to stand in the approximate position and we'll do a morph cut. And I'll just say, and so for a P25, the reason that it's even a thing or something that we're having to talk about right now is the evolution of technology hasn't really kept up with the interest in scanning. Scanning's always kind of been a niche thing anyways. I mean, obviously newsrooms are interested in radio traffic from the police and whatnot, but citizen interest has waned over the years, unfortunately, for whatever reason. And so there's not really a lot of demand to build newer devices that can handle the kind of complex operations that are required to track the channel hopping, the just everything that's involved with P25 trunking. And so instead of spending $500 to $1,000 on a scanner capable of doing these things, you can just buy 2 $30 dongles, hook it up to a laptop or a netbook or even a Raspberry Pi. I think you can do these days, and essentially have your own scanner that you built, which is kind of cool in itself, right? You get to say you built your own radio scanner, and really the footprint of it's not much bigger than a pack of cigarettes or maybe 2, and you get to hear everything that you were missing out on previously without spending $1,000. Let me give you an idea of why this is more cool than it sounds by me blathering on about it, though. And so, really what I'm running here is a smaller Dell machine. This is it's just an Optiplex 3060. Nothing fancy at all by any stretch of the imagination. I don't even have a monitor, as you can see up here. This is a guest bedroom, actually. So our guests get to stare at that ugly shit. Anyways, it is running on 2 SDR radio dongles. These are both version 5s. I think version 5 is actually pretty important to run instead of running like the 3s or 4s or whatever. All right, and so if you take a look behind here, you can see that I have one of the dongles just straight up coming right out the back of the Dell Optiplex. And again, the second one's right there. The splitter is right there. And that all runs just to these two antennas right here in the window. One is not actually even being used. So yeah, this guy right here, just kind of hanging up there. The reality of it is, that's it. That's the footprint of PHOENIXPOLICE.LIVE. I know you guys were probably maybe expecting something more elaborate, but actually, to make it even more funny, these two right here, yeah, I don't have those there usually. I had them there because I was doing some updates, but the reality is that's more about what it looks like, except I don't have any of the other black stuff up there, like the trash bag and all that crap. One thing I do usually keep around, though, is the keyboard and whatever, like that usually is kept here. And over there we got a monitor that's actually normally used for video cameras and cinema cameras. But since it's got HDMI in and out, it's perfect to connect to a computer that uses HDMI too. Hope you guys enjoyed. See you on the next one. Setting up SDRTRUNK.